Everyone's been sleeping on Man City and Pep Guardiola after winning the Champions League, after completing the treble. It was a real kind of job done atmosphere around Manchester. Obviously, I was there for the treble winning parade on the bus. Thanks again to John Nellis and all the fantastic guys at Sahi Beer for hooking us up with that. And it does feel the general Premier League community is written off, forgotten about Man City. They're probably going to win the league, and yeah, how much better can they get? But already, Josko Gvardiol is a significant upgrade into the defensive ranks, and now we have seen the £60 million acquisition of Jeremy Doku. This is another out-and-out wonder kid, top of the food chain potential, and of course there's the likes of Phil Foden already in the team, but Man City has been really missing a bit of that young shooting star, rising star type figure in the squad that really keeps the elite teams at the very top of the pecking order. Man City this year will be going after the Club World Cup, as well as trying to regain the treble, pick up some Super Cups, maybe add the League Cup into it, and by adding somebody like Jeremy Doku, who, let's be honest, for the majority of the season, the initial parts of the season, is going to feature predominantly from the bench. He is going to give Man City a new dimension. He is going to give them another route to go. And in the video today, we'll be talking about the impact that Doku is going to have, as well as where is the remaining pieces of the puzzle that Pep Guardiola is going to be looking for these emerging talents, these wonder kids to come into the club over the rest of this transfer window, maybe? If not, the next two that are yet to come. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers, and we cannot do that without your support. Hit the like button on YouTube. It goes all flashy and makes you feel good inside. Obviously helps me in the channel, so thank you in advance if you do that. And get into the comment section. Get involved in the comment section and let me know who you think is the missing piece of this Man City, like, really history books effort that they're making now. You know, who's next? Let me know. Let's just get stuck straight into it. The team we've seen from Man City over the first two games has been pretty consistent in terms of shape and style, like you would expect. But there's not been any real wacky innovations. Now, I think the acquisition of Ruben Diaz was a huge transfer for Man City, okay, in terms of, again, stature in European football, transfer fee, and the upgrade he's made to the defence department. But with Aymeric Laporte just leaving, Nathan Ake still in town, Akanji recently in the door, there's been a litany of, like, let's just say sub-elite standard defenders that have come into Man City. Some of them have done very well, but overall none of them have been like that same kind of level like we've seen across some of the other positions in the team when they've been strengthened. But Josko Gvardiol definitely breaks the mould on that front, and I thought, wow, that's a real signal of intent that Pep is really putting emphasis on getting the right high quality players in now, and maybe pushing that bracket of transfer budget up a notch and getting the best in class, bar none. And Jeremy Doku definitely fits into that category. Now, where I struggle to see Doku is exactly where he's going to fill in the team. I think the most obvious place, looking at the team, how it started so far this season, is probably this Alvarez position that's maybe up for grabs. But to be quite frank, I'm not sure out of Jeremy Doku, from what I've seen of him play, you're going to get quite that same, you know, final third endeavour that Alvarez really strives at. And really creates towards. Doku is much more of a flair player, loves to take guys on the dribble, loves a step over or two, loves getting into the box, he loves to hit a delivery and loves a shot from range. He's got technique in abundance, and again, for such a young guy, he's had such a meteoric rise throughout football, this next step to Man City could help him develop in ways that we might not even be able to imagine. So maybe in this role, he can give us something similar, different, better than what Alvarez has done and the likes of Mahrez have done for City in the last couple of seasons. He does feel like a real good replacement for Mahrez, but he's very different to Alvarez, and if that is the kind of shape and the, you know, route to goals and stuff that Pep is lining out with, I struggle to see him in this position. I don't find it completely unimaginable that he ends up in this role here and he's able to just pick up little pockets of space and play. Now, this may sound a bit odd because Doku's played wide all the time, but again, with Pep, I just wouldn't really rule anything out in certain games here and there, maybe even just for little periods of the match. Maybe he'll find himself in these little pockets, but Pep gives his players a lot of freedom, and depends on the strengths, the qualities that have brought Doku to the team, you know, I wouldn't rule out something crazy like that. Now, I think Jack Grealish does a very specific job for the team that I don't think Doku would necessarily be able to replicate in terms of being that, you know, he's not quite a left wing back, but Jack Grealish really does leave everything out there on the pitch. There's no two ways about that. Not saying Doku wouldn't, but I don't think you're going to get that out of him necessarily on this side of the game. But I think this side of the game, you get everything Grealish gives you, and maybe even a little bit more, you could argue. I could only see him really filling in on this left wing position here, similarly in any capacity. I know Gvardiol gives you a bit more security perhaps to allow him a wee bit more freedom to do that, and maybe that's the kind of thing that happens. But I think that kind of thing is probably only going to happen when this kind of box midfield is able to form of Silva. Could be Kovacic, you could put Silva back here and put De Bruyne in, it could be a few different things. But I think if that's the kind of shape that they go for, and it's just extreme that you are all the left wing attacking outlet, then it will be compensated for elsewhere, in other parts of the team. Now, because Doku does offer something completely different to the rest of the Man City front line, really, with the exception of Jack Grealish, I do think he's going to be a fantastic impact player, very much like we've seen Ferran Torres, Julian Alvarez, these guys that recently have come into the club, and Alvarez now is coming quite good, of course, but Ferran not as much. They do get some impacts quite early on, and you see a real promising sign. You think, wow, maybe this guy's going to get into the team really quickly. And Pep has had this kind of funny balance of, bedding people in and taking their time. But not to say that he won't be impactful early on, but I don't think he's going to be that influential early on. And this is a guy that, again, similar to, I'm thinking about Mahrez, the way he came into the squad, really the back end of a season is when a new signing can really show their own, play 10 games consecutively and really help the team in like a real time of need when the competitions are at semi-finals and 4 games to go in the league, that kind of idea. Now, Kovacic has done great since he's came in, but I think if you watch the first half of the Newcastle game, it was quite clear to see him and Rodri were almost tied at the hip, and Gundogan didn't play like that. These guys dominated the pitch, controlled the tempo of the game, and much more in the second half. We've seen Akanji push up, get Kovacic a bit further up the pitch, and it was actually great to see Kovacic go forward. He doesn't play for Chelsea anymore, he plays for Man City. He can attack people, and seeing Kovacic get on the ball, transition, skip by someone, take some yards up was actually quite nice to see. But it does feel that position here, which maybe even Bernardo Silva could play at times as well, it feels like maybe the next type of role in the team that the manager Pep Guardiola might go back into the market and go for an absolute stellar talent, is this technical elite ball playing playmaker to come into midfield, to come in next to Rodri. And I've got Foden here, but again, it could be KDB when fit and available. But the one I hope that Pep goes for, it will probably need to be next summer, is a real heir to the throne of Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I love Phil Foden as much as the next guy, but I think he's got a future in the squad regardless in a number of different positions. But it does feel that without De Bruyne, as you've seen against Newcastle, like the team's still done it, it was still a good performance and there's still all that top end quality there. But without De Bruyne, there is something missing. There's no David Silva either. Doku doesn't really give you, I think, what that missing ingredient is, even with Bernardo Silva not playing. But I would love them next summer to really push the boat out. We've seen a huge transfer fee for Gvardiol. We've seen a huge transfer fee here for Doku. But I would love to see Man City next summer go after Florian Wirtz. I'd love to see and hear that they're getting that deal done pronto and getting him sewn up, because he is, without a shadow of a doubt, the hottest prospect that is outside the top clubs in world football, bar none. I know Walker's just signed on, but again, as a right back, something to think about with Cancelo going out. Let me know what you think down in the comment section of the video. On screen now, some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.